Guys, that was not a joke. You guys saw the technical difficulties sign up. That was honest to goodness. Jerad and I fought for a good 5 minutes or so trying to get our stuff to come up, and it was just getting microphones to work. So first I could hear him, and he couldn't hear me, and then he could hear me, and I couldn't hear him. So at any rate, you guys know who's going to be here. But before we start that, so I wanted to announce two things. So we are currently streaming live on both Twitch and YouTube, and all of the audio for any of the podcasts, I'm already starting to convert them and add them to Apple Podcasts. So if you want to listen just to the audio on it, say you're at work, you can't stick around, you can't watch the video, it's also going to be available on Apple Podcasts. So let's go up here to the comments. Dude, it's Friday the 13th. Yeah, absolutely. So let's welcome tonight's guest, Jerad Neeves. You guys know who it is. Hey!
What's up, guys?
Well, that works better than what we had going. Now I can't find everything I wanted to have for this.
Yeah, I think my audio will be okay too because my camera's got a mic on it. I just never use it, so
I don't see as it sounds any different than it did before.
I'm really close to this mic, so technically this.
It's actually louder than your regular microphone. Now I'm having problems with my mouse not wanting to register and do this the way I want.
What's up, Aiden and everybody? 28 Dave, Knife Sharp.
28 Dave is actually House YouTube, which is my newest paying member to the channel.
Welcome. I seen who was it? It was Jeremy Russell. He's like, is there really a technical difficulty or
yeah,
is it a waiting screen? I thought
that was honest. I had saved that because I saved that picture specifically because I expected at least one time that there was going to be an issue. And I'm like, well, I guess it was, I downloaded it like 2 days ago. I'm like, I need a technical difficulty screen. And so I downloaded it, put it on a computer. And I'm like, well, at least, at least I got, but I wanted to show you guys. So right before I started this and told Jerad that I was in here, I actually went out to feed, not Shop Cat, but if you guys have been watching the Shop Cat Chronicles, Shop Cats.
Oh shit! You really do got a pack, don't you?
Yeah. So this is Shop Cat, and then there's Elsa, because it looks like somebody drew. It looks like a Disney. If somebody was drawing a Disney princess cat, that would be the one they draw. This one's Scuzz because he's got a bad sore neck, like he's got sores on his neck. Okay. Still, so we got this one has extra toes. So his name is Knuckles, and then this one is just the orange bitch that hisses at you even while you're trying to feed her.
I appreciate that, 2A Dave. I really do. Thank you. You should definitely try to support the knife channels you watch. You know, however you can. You know, a lot of people can't donate money, but they can at least like the video, comment. Just having interaction is very important. So,
cheers! It's Friday. I don't know if you got a beer or not, but cheers! Hey, what the WTH, Catman? It's so I think I told you guys it's actually kind of like part of the lease. The landlord actually allowed us to rent, even though like I couldn't show 3 times the monthly income. But I've got like I got a well over an 800 credit. I have almost a perfect credit score. And, we got like enough money in the bank that even if something did happen, we were going to pay it. So let me see. There was 2 things I wanted to. Oh, so we got to stick. If you're watching on Twitch, I have to stick to a strict 2-hour limit. That's the limit for streaming on Twitch is 2 hours. So right at the 2-hour mark, I'm going to kick it off of Twitch. So if you're on Twitch, and you want to catch anything that might happen after the 2-hour mark, because I imagine story time we'll probably be in story time at the 2-hour mark.
I've never been on Twitch, so I'm feeling lucky today.
So yeah, so I'm streaming on both, and then I'm streaming live on both, and then like I said, the audio will be up in a couple of days.
Shout out to Knife Junkie.
Yeah, podcast. I had a shirt that I was going to wear, and and it's not clean. And I swear to God,
I was gonna wear my my Mike Emler shirt, but I have it.
I was gonna wear my Farron Ford shirt, but I was so mad at my wife. So right before this starts, she knows I'm doing this. She knows actually I'm making revenue from this.
Yeah.
And like 5 minutes before I start, she turns on the washer and dryer. I'm like, "Are you fucking serious? Are you kidding me right now?"
Can't do that.
I was like, "Yeah," and she got all mad and she's like, she slammed door. I was like, "Well, you complain because I can't go to work, and like I'm doing this and I'm trying to make it work, and you could come out here and try to handicap it.
Is it out there by you? Is that why?
It's right behind me.
Right.
It's washer and dryer.
I see it now.
Right
I see it now. Yeah.
I'm in my garage.
Yeah, you tried. That's one thing that, like with any channel, you have to try to get sound quality really as good as you possibly can, and obviously lighting. That's so important. Just those two things can literally just make or break a channel.
My garage actually is pretty good. The everything that's been going on lately, like with using the TV as the backdrop and figuring out lighting, and even like the scrolling picture frames.
Yeah,
because you get less reflection because there's a white background.
Sorry, I'm just turning this thing around. Keep talking.
So you have a white background, and then the only place you would see the reflection is on like the black background, which is inside like a picture frame. So you would see a reflection on a picture frame anyway. And I was like, oh, that works out perfect. So guys, I do know that Metal Complex is doing a live giveaway video. So, and no, we're not going to get to see somebody drank under the table by me because that's not the whole point of this. So I have to ask you. So my first question that I have for you is, why in the hell would you live in a hellhole like Chicago?
I'm born here, man.
That's no excuse. I was born in Ohio, and I don't live there.
That's the only excuse I have, and I don't like it. We are planning on moving eventually. Me and Kara want to. We want to head to Florida. I have family in Florida. She has family in Texas. I have family in Mississippi, but Florida is our best bet because I have very close family members there. And I have other family that is literally in the process of moving there. So eventually that's where we want to go. The thing is that here I have so much family. Like when I go to a family party or anything, like packed. I'm talking about like, yeah, it's insane. So I have a massive amount of family here.
See, you must have a different kind of family than I do, because I went to Japan because there was no chance that any of my family was going to be able to come visit because it required a plane or a boat.
Yeah, definitely. My family's mostly all here. So the ones, like I said, I have some in other states, but out of country, I mean, I might have some in, Canada or something, but everybody's here. So, but yeah, I don't like it here though. I really don't. I was watching, but I don't.
Bro, I've been watching what's going on in Chicago.
Yeah,
like not to get anything political, but it's
I know. No, it's not even political.
It's horrible. It's just horrible.
It is horrible.
And I mean, we moved. Everybody's like, "Oh, well, you live in San Diego." No, I moved 11 miles further outside of San Diego. Like I
think some would argue that California's kind of fucking sinking too.
But the whole thing is like what you see is certain areas of California, like San Diego. San Diego is probably one of the better places in San Diego because there is a really strong military presence and stuff like that. And the fact is, like I said, San Diego is one of those weird ones where it's a big city, but 6 minutes out of San Diego, I lived 10 minutes outside of downtown San Diego before.
Yeah.
And I was like, you really couldn't tell that you were that close. I still wasn't at downtown. So we moved further south. Now we're down closer to the border in the San Ysidro area.
Yeah.
And I'm literally 2 exits. I'm like the last, there's only one more actual exit before you hit the Mexican border from our house. Yeah. And it's quiet. I'm out of the city. It's like 10 degrees cooler than the last place we were at. And I'm literally 5 miles from that from the Special Forces base.
So
it's an air base.
Here it's like it goes shithole, good neighborhood, shithole, good neighborhood. That's the way it goes. And
that's the way it is.
From Chicago to Milwaukee is basically just one giant city. So
it's the same here, but it's not like that here. It's like good street, bad street, good street, bad street. It's not even neighborhoods. Like one neighborhood will have like 8 shitty areas in it.
Yeah.
So okay, well we've got like 20 people here. I imagine that's about all we're gonna get with Richard doing a giveaway on his live stream. I was in. He had just started it. He was like 2 minutes into it. He had like 218 people. I'm like,
he did that to sabotage you. So
no, he didn't. I don't think he even knows. I don't.
I'm just fucking around.
I don't think he even knows I don't think he even knows that my channel exists, to tell you the truth. He's got like 60,000 subscribers.
He knows your channel exists, I'm sure. I just don't think he knows your schedule of.
No, and here's the thing. That's the beautiful thing about YouTube. It's not like we're actually competing for a time slot because this is going to be available for everybody to watch later.
Anytime, you know. That is the beauty of it. Like, you can always watch it later.
That's why I got upset with that whole thing with what was it? EDC, OCD for EDC. And the whole Brian thing, like competing for a time slot. It's not like network TV where we're competing for a time slot. So a 1 in 5,000 chance of winning. Yeah. I mean, you should go over and tell people that, Dave. You're another weirdo. It's like, tell them, I don't know why you guys are hanging out here. You'd be having more fun over with Mike and Jerad.
I do giveaways sometimes on my lives every once in a while, but you won't know. Like, you have to be there to know. Like, I'm not going to fucking write it on the screen so that everybody shows up just for, like, it'll be the people that support to get it or get the chance. Yeah. But all my giveaways go to Patreon. So if you want fucking giveaways every month, you got to be on Patreon.
That's funny. Mine aren't. I'm actually giving away 2 items this month. I'm giving away 1 item, which is the CJRB Mylea, and I'd taken some pictures of it, so it's over there. I'm giving that away to anyone, and this one is for the members. So if you're a paying member this month, I'm giving away the carbon fiber CJRB Crag that is a Amazon exclusive. And if you just want to get one, there's an affiliate link for it down below. I have this exact one linked in the description down below. Since I give away
so much on my the channel or to the Patreons, it's hard for me to do other giveaways because then, you know, it's like you got to think about like how much money you're spending or whatever. So I make it where it's like they get so much already. It's hard for me to do other giveaways.
I haven't given away anything I've paid for. The stuff I'm giving away.
Well, regardless, like say if a company gives you a knife, right? That's still profits for your channel. Whether you sell it or give it away, you can. That's the way I look at it.
I don't. The whole thing is, I don't like the idea. I've never sold any of the stuff that has come into the channel from a company.
I haven't either, but I would.
The reason, but I'm just saying, I don't think because then you get into that weird situation. You get in that weird situation like Steve calling out Brian. Brian might have gotten stuff specifically for giveaway, but the fact is, people are like, oh, he should have given that stuff away. It was given to him. It was free. So
nobody can tell you how to run your fucking channel. Okay, so
I know, but there's
the way I look at it. I spend like 16 hours a day working. Period. Right. So. I put so much time in the channel. If a company gives me something, I want to sell it to make some bucks off of the video I put 7 hours into making. Go fuck yourself if you think that's like if I made something on that. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. If I want to make some profits, I put too much time into it to not. And I do it for that. I've told everybody on my channel I'm doing this as a business. And I want to. So if I want to sell it, or in which I haven't, I've never sold anything yet, but I'm saying if I did, who cares? But I do give to the Patreons, and that's all I'm saying. I'm saying like the money the Patrons donate, right? Whatever they donate a month, if I give away more than that, then why do I have a Patreon? Do you know what I mean? I have to invest that money into the channel. If I'm literally giving, like, let's say if I get $300 a month and I give away $500 a month, that's stupid.
Yeah, right? It doesn't make any sense.
Dumb.
Yeah, right? No, I understand. So I'm just saying, like,
balance it to where it makes sense.
Well, and that's why I use the stuff that comes in as giveaways. I'm not going to spend. I can't really spend.
Nobody would have a channel otherwise. You wouldn't be able to. It just doesn't make sense.
I forgot to tell you because I just managed to get the one that I did with Adam Chavez monetized. Let's be careful. Let's be careful how many hard F-bombs we drop.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
no, I did it. I do it too, and I'm like trying to keep track, and I'm like, we're only 15 minutes, and I know I've dumped at least 2. So I wanted to ask you because like we talk all the time, but I've never asked you. You know, I grew up on a farm. I grew up in the country. My dad always had knives. How did you get into knives? I mean, my dad is the one that got me into knives and started me into collecting and things.
So my dad, same thing. My dad handed me a pocket knife when I was 5 years old, and I've been carrying a pocket knife ever since.
So it's basically the same thing. Yeah,
and well, my dad taught me how to, hunt, everything about firearms, knives, from fishing, all that stuff. And then also he he made it. He like instilled it into me, like to be able to work on things and be self-sufficient and know how to hunt, know how to, field dress an animal, know how to survive, know how to, use a tool, and not just a knife, but all kinds of tools. So like I had to do that from a very young age. So, I was using saws. I was up on picks and ladders very high, working on roofs and everything at a very, very young age. So I did that my entire life. And growing up in construction, you know the type of tools you use. So
yeah, I mean, I grew up on a farm. I grew up on a farm, and
right.
We weren't doing construction, but we were doing construction because, like, on a farm, you do everything yourself.
Well, that's another thing.
You don't hire somebody to come in and do it. You take care of it yourself. Something broke, you got to fix it.
Right, and that's the next thing. My grandma, my aunt, they had a farm, and I grew up on there. We had horses, cows, at different times, different animals, but now it's a concrete business. So like the farm's not there no more, but the property is still there, and it's just a concrete or construction business. But growing up there, I hunted there. I did everything there. We did, and like you said, you're self-sufficient on there, so you do everything. You don't.
I mean, if the roof, something happened on the roof, you had to fix the roof. You knew who was fixing the roof? Me and my grandfather.
Right, exactly.
The roof. Us.
Same thing with us. If there was a hole that needed to be dug, get a shovel.
Yeah. The nice thing was you didn't have to worry about calling the 811 dig number because you were afraid you're going to hit some spicy dirt.
Julie, yeah, no, you didn't have to worry about that.
Nothing. I can't tell you how many times because we would dig. And I saw a TikTok about it. The guy was like, it's Ricky and the Boss, and he was talking about I think I sent it to you, the spicy dirt. He's like,
I don't know, maybe.
It's lunchtime. How could you guys have a problem already? All you had to do was dig a fucking trench. And he's like, oh, we dug a trench. The hole is there.
Yeah.
But, who was in charge of calling that 811 number? And he's like, why? Did y'all hit something? He's like, oh, yeah, we definitely hit something. He's like, Pablo calls it spicy dirt. And he says, and then he was like, spicy dirt. And then it shows a scene with an excavator with just the narrow scoop. Dug a trench. And you just see the electrical. And it's playing. It's electric in the background.
If anybody doesn't understand what he's talking about, when you dig, you have to call, it's Julie around here, and they have to come and tell you where all the pipes, electrical is, and they never get it right.
You always hit it. Like,
right.
Well, if they tell you, if they put an X and say that's where a pipe is, that's where you should dig, because that's absolutely not where the pipe is. Where it is where you're gonna dig. It's exactly where you're gonna dig, not where they put the X. Like I think they come out like, here's the X, and I think everybody thinks they're
just
marking.
For fun. They want to fuck with.
No, everyone thinks they're marking where the stuff is. I think they're actually telling you where you should dig. Like, dig right here. And then you dig like 8 feet off and you hit an electrical or you hit a gas main. Gas main will shut the whole job site down for like the whole day.
Yeah. I've definitely seen that shit.
What is this knife sharp? Have I still got, Mike, you still got your sword? Yeah, I have 4 swords. I have one that's like a wall hanger kind of a sword. It's actually not a bad sword. And I have 2 that were made, and then I have the actual one that I got when I got married. It's an actual Japanese, like samurai, like 400-year-old sword. So
Seems Logical's in here. He just bought me. I haven't gotten it yet, but whenever it gets here. But
Seems Logical's buying you gifts.
He got me an authentic kukri. An authentic.
Yeah, I know you told me.
That's gonna be sweet.
I'm not going in and getting the swords Logical. You just go back and watch the videos about them. They're all the way in the house on the first landing of the steps. All
too far away.
I'm not going in there. It's just too.
Everybody thought you were going to go like this.
No, but so I had a question.
What's up?
Because I have a picture of mine ready to go. What is a knife that you got rid of that now you regret, but you can't justify? Like, I had a knife that I bought and I got rid of it, and I wish I hadn't, but I can't justify buying it again. And it's not like because it's expensive. I just have no need for it. So a knife that you got rid of. So but just, like, I can't buy it again. It doesn't make any sense, but I wish I hadn't sold it.
So what happened with me was I sold one and it's discontinued. So it wasn't possible for me to buy another one. And then Timbo bought me or gave me his.
Well, that doesn't count because you have it.
Okay. So I'll go for another one. But this is
I'm kidding. Like,
Griffin, which is a button lock and 14C28N. Very good knife. They also make it in titanium. It's a very solid button lock. It's on needle bearings.
I couldn't hear you. Who makes it though?
Real Steel.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The Real Steel Griffin, and it's a very solid button lock. And when I first got it, it surprised me because of how tough it was. Like, it was a button lock. It's like, how the fuck is this so tough? But yeah, I do got that one. Now another knife that I got rid of. Okay, so technically I didn't sell this, but I sent it to somewhere and they lost it. So but my Tucson TS223, and I've been trying to win one. I've been trying to buy one, and it's like every time I try, I fail, and it's just like I never can win one or get one.
Logical. You can't put links up. I had my moderators were having to go into overdrive on some of my videos, not just on live feeds. There have been so many spam porn links that keep showing up.
They won't allow it.
Yeah, and so I shut it off. I turned off. You can't. No one can put up links except my moderators and myself.
Okay. Yeah.
It's basically the same as. So I had a knife that I used to own, and I mean I can't justify buying it again because it was one of those ones that's just completely. It's not a useful device. It was just something I bought on a whim. It was one of those back when I was drinking so much at the time, and I'm like. Yeah, it was one of those drunk late night Amazon purchases, like 2 o'clock in the morning. That looks cool. I'll buy that.
Yeah.
And so this is the knife that I'm talking about. And it is the Cold Steel Double Agent 2. And I had that knife and I loved it and it was cool. But I had a problem with the sheath because it had the Cold Steel Secure X sheaths have got they're fiberglass reinforced. And when you pull it,
if you reverse grip it, do those work as brass knuckles?
I don't know if they would. It's really thin, but it was really, really comfortable. It was cool looking. But the problem I had with it was Secure X. And every time you'd pull it out of the sheath, it didn't matter how sharp it was dull when it came out of the sheath because the Secure X has the fiberglass in it.
Yeah,
and it's just like cutting a piece of fucking
glass.
Metal. Yeah, it's just like cutting glass. And so you'd sharpen it and then you'd pull it out of the sheath. You're like, that thing is dull. And I thought there was something wrong with it, and I got rid of it. And that's when I started realizing.
I've definitely had some sheaths like that where the sheath just destroys the knife.
Destroys it. And then Kydex sucks. The Kydex that they did on these was pretty good. It doesn't rub too much because of where the pinch point's at. But I mean, even that, there's still some rubbing on. You can see it from the sheath. Now, I don't care.
This is something you kind of got to deal with those sheaths. Let me ask you, would you rather have a leather or a Kydex sheath?
Absolutely rather have leather. But the problem is, depending on where you're at, like the weather and stuff like that, Cold Steel isn't the same anymore. I would say, I don't know if I'm going to agree or disagree yet because I've had old Cold Steels and I've had a couple of the new ones come in and I'm really not seeing that big of a change in quality.
I think we need to give it like a year or so because I think they're going to have back order stuff or whatever, like stuff that's still in stock. But then also let's see what happens after they've gotten it and they have the reputation.
And a lot of it is just a preconception thing. Like, oh, it's going to get worse. Just like when everybody was loving their Chris Reeve knives. And until they realized that Ann had taken over the company. Yeah. Chris was still doing designing, but Ann was the one running it. Even I did it. Even I said stuff about it.
Just recently, there's been some issues since the son took it over.
The son didn't take it over.
Well, whoever's running it now. I'm saying whoever's running it now. Supposedly, at Blade Show, I didn't go there, but I seen on video. I seen the son was running it, right? So
no, he does a lot of the shows.
Okay.
Because Ann is, she's getting older. She's really, really sweet.
But that's why I figured the son was
him and another guy like Matt Fabian. But Tim doesn't run the show. Ann still runs the show. But the fact is, like, I have not seen any real change in the quality. It was like a thing that like everybody thought it.
Well, what happened recently is that they switched over to the S45 and they sent out a ton of, or I don't know about a ton, but they sent out a bunch of knives that were supposed to be S45. The card said S45, but when they took it apart, it was S35VN. Then a few more things really quick. The new ceramic ball thing, they were getting a lot of play and rock in the which I understand it's new system, new lock because of the ceramic ball, so shit happens, right? But people were getting a lot of rock, and then like people were like mailing things in and getting them worked on and like getting parts, and then they were like Talica, he had parts shipped that didn't even have the parts in the bag, just like little things, which I'm not saying that means that they're doing shit work or anything.
You got to keep in mind also, they've been shut down. They've basically been shut down since COVID started.
Yeah.
Because they're a really small factory and they couldn't keep people distance and stuff. And so it's probably also a matter of things like, because no, CRKT is not, or CRK is not doing bearings now. What he's talking about is their new lock interface.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead of titanium on steel, where the lock bar interface is, it's just a large. So do you remember when the Umnumzon came out? That big, large detent ball that was also the lock interface. It's the same thing.
Same thing.
And the problem people were having, it wasn't lock play. What it was is the lock bar interface, the lock bar on the Benza is ground a little bit different. And what they were getting was they were getting lock flex. The lock bar would flex. It wasn't technically.
I'm just saying that. But then also though, I also seen a couple, because people took videos of it, brand new, and literally play. But that's completely different. And I'm not saying I've seen a bunch. I've seen it twice. So
yeah.
I
only ever saw one. I've heard so many people talk about it, but it's kind of like
flex. You mean?
Yeah, I saw a couple, maybe one or two.
I've seen a few.
Yeah. But I equate it back to like people talking about like, oh, there were so many people. Like there was one guy that made a comment about having a problem with AR RPM 9. It was one guy, and there was like, and then I get all these questions. Well, I don't know why you're talking about AR RPM 9. There's so many people having problems. I'm like, literally, there was one guy. Yeah. There was one guy in one video, and you guys turn it into an echo chamber. And
definitely gets into
there's like so many people. I was like, there really aren't so many people. There's one guy that I've seen make one video, and then everybody piggybacked on that. So what you heard like 30 people talking about something that somebody said. So I got another question for you. Favorite knife you've ever bought and worst knife you've ever bought? Both.
Ooh, fuck.
And it doesn't, because I've had some pretty crappy knives that wound up being like ones that are my favorites.
For worst knife was definitely a Gerber. Best knife. That's tough.
What's up, Cue Ball?
That's really tough. I couldn't tell you the best. I can tell you right now I'm enjoying this knife.
Which one is that?
I didn't tell you the best.
Is that giant mouse?
Giant mouse Ace Grand. Yeah.
That's the one you hit those staples with?
Possibly.
Yeah, I saw the video. I saw you.
Okay. I'm not denying it. But yeah, it's hard to say like like the best knife you ever bought. I'm not saying that I mean I could name a bunch, but like I almost feel like I'd have to have like some context. Like
best knife I ever bought. This is the best production knife I have ever owned. It still stands up. I still stand by that. I did that. The best production knife I've ever owned. I still stand by this being the best production knife I've ever owned. And I've owned a lot, and there's a lot of really nice knives out there. But
what do you
overall bang for your buck for what I paid for it.
What do you think about rock studs?
I think that they're overpriced.
Okay.
I definitely think they're overpriced. And I wouldn't have gotten that.
You did a video on one a long time ago, right?
I've done a video on a couple of them. I've had like 2 or 3 of them in. I did a video where I sharpened one.
Really? I didn't see that.
I sharpened a Higo.
This is a Higo right here. Did you do the whole bevel or did you put an edge bevel?
I just did a micro bevel because if you send that into them, that's all they're going to do.
Oh, really? Yeah. They don't redo the whole edge angle?
They tell you that in the warranty work, that there is no warranty on that polished thing. All they're going to do is just cut you a micro bevel, basically.
I thought that like if like you send it in, they'll repolish it. Huh.
They come with a small bevel at the very front, and all they do is they use a computerized jig and grind a perfectly aligned angle. Yeah. And then they send it back to you. So it's like having a V grind at the very front of that comic. Well, so in all actuality, to tell you the truth, I was gonna say, to tell you the truth, send it to somebody like you or I. Yeah. You can polish and kind of blend it in. It doesn't show near as badly.
Right.
Yeah,
That's actually smart. But yeah, for some reason, I thought that like if you like wanted to, you could send it back, and their warranty would like cover repolishing and stuff.
It's
They
right in
do
their warranty
show,
paperwork.
they do show, or I seen a video. It was a while back where they take denim and they wrap it around like a 2x4 and they put this paste on it, and that's how they strop.
It's that white metal. It's that white polishing compound that you use for like. It's the same white waxy polishing compound that you use when you're cleaning up, like when you detail a car and it's an older car and it has the all chromed steel bumper. It's the same stuff that you put. It's the same stuff you put on the buffing wheel. It's the exact same stuff. It's just metal polish.
Do you know what my
and that's why a lot of times those Rocksteads, they don't, like, you see them cutting and they doing all that stuff because it does have a really fine edge. But like if you were to try and like cut some stuff, those Rocksteads don't have a lot of bite sometimes. It's because they do that. It'll still cut, but a lot of times they don't have the bite like you would want from a lot of other.
It definitely came like screaming fucking.
Oh,
sharp.
They're terrifying. They're nightmare inducing.
I dropped it this far, just like dink, and it cut me to the bone.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I've used it. Not even a lot either. I've used it a little bit, and it definitely lost its bite compared to what it was. It's still sharp as shit.
Oh, absolutely.
It'll still shave hair and everything, but when it came, it was screaming sharp. But now,
cheers to everyone on this Friday night. We got like 39 people here, guys.
Cheers, everybody.
If you guys want to keep reminding people to smash that like button, because I can't see how many likes there are because I'm actually not in YouTube.
See, it's weird because you see the top where it says live, and it says the time.
Yeah.
Mine shows the likes right next to that.
Mine doesn't. Mine only shows, and I actually
that's why I kept saying look up, because mine shows an eyeball, and then I don't know what the eyeball is, but it shows an eyeball, and then it shows the likes.
Nope, it shows me live viewers. It shows me that there's one person on Twitch and 36 people on here on YouTube. So, wow. But I had to upgrade. I had to upgrade the studio to the. I got the full thing, so now I can do 1080p. Because I wanted to be able to put this on Apple iTunes and Spotify so that I can do all the stuff I need to download and put that stuff on Spotify and things like that. So yeah.
I have a cool question for you.
Yeah.
So if you had to go off the grid, what knife would you want to take with you, but you can't name? Back up.
Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you guys. You forgot that. I forgot to say it. Jerad just hit
10K.
10K, and I'm trying to figure out why I have a little chat notification down here. So why is my mouse? I'm getting pissed off at this mouse. Okay, but I can't name what?
Oh, you can't name your own knife.
Oh well, it wouldn't be my own knife.
Well, I figured because I said hard use off the grid, so I figured you'd name your fixed blade, but
because the whole thing is Dave Warren, Tuya Knife Company is here, guys.
What's up, Dave?
So the knife
gotta be a folder though. That's the
it's gotta be a folder.
Folder.
Cold Steel Spartan.
Spartan, huh?
Yep. Because it's a good all around. I can use it if I had to go off the grid and I had to do multiple different things. That knife is going to perform like a fixed blade because it has the triad lock. It's a really big, sturdy knife. It's in OS 8, which is easy to do. Cold Steel does a really good job with their heat
right now. This is hilarious.
And not only is it a useful knife shape, it's not too heavy, so it's not going to be something that's going to weigh me down too much. I can use it as a chopper. It's ergonomic. You can cut all day with it. It's got the big belly recurve, so I can do detail work and feather stick. And it's got that big belly, so if I need to use it for a skinner, it's like out of all the knives I own, I'd have to say that's the one.
I don't own the knife I'm going to mention, but it's funny you mentioned that one because I was going to say the Cold Steel Finwolf, which has a Scandi grind. That's why I chose it.
It has a sort of Scandi.
But I've tested it though, and it fucking worked great. But my point is though, is it is OS 8 too, just like you're saying, OS 8. And out in the field, I'm gonna be able to tune it up. Now my next question is how, and I want specifics on this. How are you gonna sharpen it?
How am I gonna sharpen it? That's the nice thing about OS 8.
Mm-hmm.
I just need a fucking rock. I mean, technically, the stones that I use are just rocks. We've been sharpening knives with rocks.
I mean specific, like where you getting the rock, what shape.
I'm just gonna get a round little along a riverbed or creek bed. I'm gonna get a nice small little river biscuit that's probably done in probably granite or something that's got a good bit of quartz and stuff in it. Yeah. And I'll probably get it and put it inside a piece of leather with some sand, and I'm gonna rub it until it's nice and smooth. And I'll make myself a nice little round puck for doing whatever I want. And then I can also use that. I can also use that for food prep, for rubbing skins and things like that. I mean, if you've got a good knife, a good fire starter kit, and a good round rock, you're set, bro. Yeah. All you need now is a bow and arrow to hunt with.
I was gonna say basically the exact same thing, that I would find a river with because they have the weathered rock in there, so it's gonna be a lot smoother, right? You know, like even if it's a round one, it's gonna be, you know, smooth. But you can find those ones that are kind of like almost flat, you know, because they've been laying at the bottom of a river for 1,000 years or whatever.
And sand has been rubbing over them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's what I would try to find.
That's what people have used for sharpening a sandstone, a nice chunk of sandstone. So Casper says, what would cause an S35 satin blade to have bubbles in it? So
what do you mean bubbles?
I don't know. You'd have to like send me a picture on Instagram or something.
Yeah, I'm curious about what bubbles mean.
It could just be staining. But what you're probably seeing, S35 VN, you're probably, even though it's a fairly fine grain, you may just be seeing some undissolved carbides at the surface. And when they did the satin, it just doesn't kind of blend in. It doesn't look quite the same, especially if it's a really fine satin. So if it's a really fine satin, you'll see inclusions and little spots and things like that in the grain structure. I actually did here's one for you. I did a 20 CV blade, and the guy wanted a I had to get special belts for it. He wanted like a 400 grit satin on the edge bevels. And when I did it, I realized that I could see a pattern in that steel. And I was like, what is this? Did I screw something up? Did I get something on it? And you could actually see a pattern in that powdered 20 CV that was the grain structure, and it almost looked like wood steel. So it could just be some carbides and stuff. I'm not talking about silicone. Who said something about silicone?
Not enough silicone is what the web said.
I don't know. There's not very much.
Possibly, right?
It's not like silicone. It's not silicone anyway. It's silica that they usually put in. It's usually trace amounts. So I mean, there's a lot of things it could be. Right. It could just be that
possibilities are probably massive.
It could have been a flaw in whatever grinder they were using, and it just left little. It might have had like a little chip in it, and every time I went around, it just left a little weirdness to it.
Yeah.
I've actually got a couple knives. Actually, my Benchmade,
Medford.
Not this one, but the old my old 940 blade in S30V.
Yeah.
The satin was it was completely different from one side to the other. And the only thing I could equate to that is because it goes through a burger grinder, right? So there's two wheels.
Yeah.
And I think one wheel was older than the other, so it was a little less worn. So there was a little crisper lines on one side of that blade than the other. So who knows? You never know.
There are so many different variables.
Yeah. There's a lot of variables.
So
sorry,
go ahead.
No, I was just looking at something.
But I was going to say, back to off the grid. So, if you had to get off the grid, right? And you had to get off the grid, you got your folder or whatever. What's your first move?
What's my first move?
Yeah, well, don't say water, because I know everybody needs water, but besides water.
First things, you got to have fire. Survival off the grid is always fire. Like
fire survival.
You can find water, you can find food, but if you don't have a way to make fire, your food you can't cook, your water you can't purify. Fire in the woods is survival. They teach you that at any military survival school, any outdoor training course you go to. Fire is survival. So the first thing I'm going to grab is, at the very least, I have a ferro rod from Fiberlight Firestar that Justin sent me, and it's a full-sized 1/2-inch round, but it's only that long, and it's got a striker, and it's a necklace. And it's got a whistle on it, and it's in 550 cord, and it's long enough that you can lash things.
That's cool.
And you can put other things on it if you need to, but it comes with a striker. It comes with that. and I'm probably going to grab my tinder, that waterproof tinder that they carry. I have both of those. Yeah, it seems logical. Like it's like he started something. He's like, lightning strikes make fire, and like, wait, yeah, he's gonna point that out right there. Like, if you're waiting,
to make fire.
If you're out, I got news for you. If you're out in the desert, good luck. Not a lot of lightning out there.
So
it hasn't rained. It hasn't rained more than like 5 minutes since.
Fuck, man, it's been
probably April.
Crazy here. So let's assume you've got the fire going, you've got your food, you've got your water, you're pretty much set, you know, for the most part. What is the like your next goal of things to collect and get, to whether it's to make things easier, maintain things? What's like the thing that you're going after?
So the next thing I'm gonna do is once I have a good water supply, I'm gonna make sure that I have 2 times the amount of wood that I think I need to make sure I can keep that fire going in case I can't go the next day. I want to have at least 2 days worth of wood. And then I'm going to start looking for longer sticks that I can make a lean-to, some wet branches that I can make a backstop. If I was smart on my way out, I grabbed my poncho liner off the couch. Every guy in the military knows that he wants his whoopee because it's going to keep you warm. You can wrap up in it. So if you can't get sheltered the first night, it's fairly waterproof. It dries up fairly well. It's not going to get stinky. It keeps you warm. It's not too warm where you're going to start sweating. And then basically that's it. I'm going to start building up once you have fire and you have water, shelter's your next obvious choice.
Right. But after you have that, right, let's assume you have all that. But are you going to go and try, like, so like say you got your shelter, you got your food, you're pretty much set right now, but things make things easier, right? Are you going to go and try to collect containers or anything like that, or possibly I'm
gonna go sneak as close as I can to civilization. I'm gonna steal whatever I fucking can.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I'm gonna get.
I'm gonna rob, steal, pillage, and plunder.
Yep. Yeah, that's basically what I was getting.
Okay, so there was a guy who he was married, had a kid. I remember the story. And this guy he decided, I can't take it anymore. And he walked out from his house and walked out into the woods, and everybody thought he was dead. And all these little camping areas and all the houses in this area out in these woods just kept having little robberies. Nothing big, little things get stolen. Food, clothes, things like that. For like 20 years.
Wow.
What is
this? 20 years.
Like 15 or 20 years. I don't even know. I can't find my thing. 15 or 20 years, this guy's, there it is. 15 or 20 years, this guy's out and he's stealing from campgrounds and all this stuff. Everybody thought he was dead. And he had built out in the woods. They just happened to come across him. He had built this big house. He never had a fire. He was out there for the winter. He was out there for the summer. He got water. Anything he got, he stole. And he had not. Turns out when they arrested him, it turns out that he was talking to police. He said he had not talked to another human being in like 15 years. That was the first time he'd talked to anyone, like 15 years.
There was a guy. It's funny you're telling that story because there's a guy I watched this on Almost Got Away with It. So this guy, you guys know the show Almost Got Away with It. It's somebody who almost got away with like a murder or a robbery or something like that. Well, the guy had killed somebody, right? Well, he knew that he was going to go to prison. So he just went off grid. So this guy had grown up hunting and fishing and being self-sufficient. So he already knew I can live off the grid. So he grabs a 22. I think it was a 22. I'm not positive about that, but he grabs his rifle, as many bullets as he can. That's it. Goes out there with the clothes on his back, maybe a backpack and some clothes, but goes out there, builds himself, stayed out there for 2 years without ever coming out. 2 years, hunted the whole time and gained weight. I mean, this guy he was doing great. So then he came back, and I think he almost got caught, but then he went back off grid because you know how it goes. Like, it's like you're in your safety spot, and people always get antsy, and they want to go see family or something, and that's what he did. That's where he messed up. He went to try to see family, and almost got him caught. He went back off the grid, and he was back out there for a while, and then they wound up, I think, getting him like maybe like 5 years later, because he all in all, it was like 7 years he was off the grid and did great. Like great. I think maybe it was longer than that. I don't remember the exact time, but I remember when I was watching the story, it was a long time. He was literally out in the woods, living it up, hunting. They couldn't catch him. They had almost caught him a couple times out in the woods, but they couldn't outwoods him. That was the thing. They couldn't outwoods him.
Mean, so I like to joke, and I tell people, I was like, oh, I might talk country, I might look country, I might sound country, but I'm not country because I there's no way I could now live without being able to. I can literally walk to Walmart from here, and I mean it's probably about 1.5 miles, but I can still walk it. But the truth is, I grew up. We didn't have. I want to say we didn't have a goddamn thing. We didn't have indoor plumbing until I was 14. Yeah. So there was a lot of times if I couldn't hunt, we didn't have meat. And so I say that I'm not country anymore, but I absolutely could fall back off the grid. Okay, I got one for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did I already ask you what the favorite knife you've ever bought was? I did.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So
I couldn't answer.
Companies that you like, not because of quality or anything like that, just simply because of aesthetics. Like, is there a company
because the way they look?
Yeah, just like everything else about it's fine. Like that, it's not the quality. Because most companies these days are actually, except MTech, are making good quality knives. Like a company that you just don't like the aesthetic of their knives. Is there a company?
I do like.
Don't companies that like. I wouldn't buy their knives just because they look like that.
Give me a second. Probably, and not all of them because I do like some, but like SOG, some of them I do like though. Don't get me wrong, some of them I do.
Hang on a second.
But yeah,
don't make me put you in timeout.
Did you say MTech is good now?
No, I said
he was saying that
there are most companies. I said most companies today make good quality knives, except MTech.
Yeah. But yeah, MTech, I don't like the way they look just because they look like they're trying to be tactical when they're the exact opposite of that.
Yeah, they're the Emerson budget line.
Gerbers, I'm not really a big fan of them with the way they look.
I'm not a fan of. I'll tell you the one I'll tell you exactly what company for me. ZT. I'm not a fan of ZT's knives, and by default, most of their knives are shared with Kershaw. Not a big fan of Kershaw either. It has nothing to do. ZT knives. Most of them are okay if you don't accidentally bump them on the spine and they slam shut on you. They do have a reputation for not passing the spine whack test. But the truth is, if you're using a knife properly, it's not going to slam shut on you.
Right. There's a couple that are pretty good.
Designs.
Like the 0562. I like. There's a handful that I like.
I don't like that one.
The 0562. The Hinder edition. So I like that one. And
that's the other thing. As much as I like Rick, I'm honestly not a fan of a lot of his designs either. And I mean, Rick's a great dude, fellow Ohioan. I think
instead of you making a list of knives you don't like, you should just come up with knives you do like because it'd be a lot easier.
No, I mean, I like some of Rick's designs, but a lot of the ZT designs are just kind of rehashes.
I'm just fucking with you.
I'm gonna chicken choke you when I finally get to meet you.
I'm just, it's funny because sometimes I think also sometimes people take things a little too far. Like you can say you dislike something, and it'll be something small, but you actually like the knife. You really like the knife.
I'm not gonna lie. I had an 0300. I had a ZT 0300. It was a Strider design before Mick was even making his own knives. It was the tiger stripe one.
Yeah.
Yep. The 0300 BLK.
Yeah,
and I'm not gonna lie, that was a really, really great knife, and it cut well, and it was a really good knife. But it was uglier than a mud fence. I'm just saying for aesthetics. I'm not saying anything functional. Some knives just aren't.
I 100% agree. 2021 ZTs, I didn't like any of their catalog. There wasn't one knife I liked on their 2021 catalog, not one. I was so disappointed in them because I really expected something good out of ZT for 2021.
Well, I mean, the whole thing too is like ZT, everybody keeps saying, ZT, US made. ZT, while it is a US based kind of a US based company, they are actually a branch of Kai. They are Kai of America, which is the largest. Like if you buy something that's made of metal in Japan, or something to sharpen said piece of metal, you bought it from Kai. They have a monopoly on every kitchen knife. Is all coming through either Kyocera.
I didn't know that.
Or because I lived there for years.
Yeah. I heard that, and I don't know how true this is, so I don't want to spread misinformation, but a lot of people would say that ZT is USA made, but they're getting all their parts from China.
Well, and that's not an uncommon thing. I'm not going to lie to you. I actually, and I'll talk to you about it offline. I think I might have already sent you a text about it. I'm working on trying to figure out something right now because somebody might have gotten caught in a lie. And I actually have looked at shipping data, and there's a company that says, no, we don't get anything offshore. Nothing's made offshore. It's all here. And they're getting shipments from a knife company in China. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I'm curious as to what they're getting. Now, if they're just getting raw parts, if they're just getting raw materials.
Screws or something, or.
Yeah, well, not even that.
Well, you mean like G10 and then they make it. I see what you're saying.
Well, yeah, but there's okay. So sometimes those Chinese companies, those offshore companies will purchase a large amount of steel and they realize they don't need it and they'll sell some back, which. Yeah. If it's American steel, like if it's 20 CV or something, and they're buying it back from a Chinese company that's already purchased it, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. That's completely transparent. Yeah. But like if they're saying that nothing of their knives is coming from offshore, and then they're getting like partially finished knives or knife parts coming from an overseas company, I don't think that's fair. To say, and then to try and call other people out.
Well, it's pretty easy to just, I mean, I don't know about easy, but it's
shipping information is transparent. I can show you an app. I can show you an app that you can use, a website you can use, where it basically shows you can look at any company and see who's delivering, who are their vendors, and where they're sending. And then you can go back in and see this company, where they're sending to. And you can also go in and you can look up codes and figure out exactly what's being sent and what's being received. What was this? If you can be good with business owned offshore but import, then you should be okay with parts imported but employed onshore. I do, but like I don't have a problem. Like
if you say it, that's the point.
Yeah, just say it. Like be transparent about it.
It's kind of like the other day I was in a store and most of the products in the store were veteran owned companies and USA made products. Now some of them were partially, right? Like so some of them were made I forget where, another place, and then just done here, right? So like, it was shirts. It was for shirts. So like the shirts were made over there, and then they were putting.
Well, the Ember Shirt Co. My friend Justin, Ember Shirt Co. My shirts. Those shirts come from Bangladesh. They are the best shirt blanks. That's what he said. Those are the highest quality shirt blanks. You felt them. Those t-shirts. Really my t-shirts are great. It's the same thing.
But I was specifically looking for a US all. I wanted 100%. I was literally in that store for that reason. So I didn't want something partially made here. That's the only reason why I was there. I don't mind buying shirts from overseas. It's just this time, this is what I wanted. This is what I was looking for. So I was literally going through a bunch of shirts, and half of them weren't, half of them were. So, I understand why people would want something 100% made. So just be honest so that I can, make my choices myself instead of on a lie.
I honestly, I really don't care. I have my knives made offshore because I can't afford to have them made here in the States. And the fact is, the companies that I did talk to that were willing to do my project weren't necessarily companies. They weren't necessarily companies I want to deal with.
Howdy ding ding.
Howdy ding dings.
No, I advocate for people to buy USA made products as much as you can, support the USA companies, but I don't fault anybody for buying overseas either. I mean, I buy overseas too. Fuck. But I think it's impossible not to. And honestly, I don't think it's the knife market destroying our fucking country. You know what I mean?
No,
like there's a lot of products, like we should be making TVs and phones and things like that. And I know it's impossible right now, but I'm just saying, like, if we were, then those are the things that are like just making the market like crazy.
And it's not even so much that it's impossible. It's just the fact that the raw materials that you need for a lot of they're just not here.
Yeah.
Like if you're buying a titanium knife, even if it's an American made titanium knife, guess where the titanium came from?
Right.
Either northeast China or Northwest China or Southeast Russia, because that's where the largest titanium ore deposits are. You're buying, like, it doesn't matter what it can be an American-made knife, but that sheet of titanium
came from there.
Came from China or Russia. That's where the majority of it all comes from.
I do enjoy when I can get a product, especially like if it is going to be overseas, when partial was here, like where, like say Dave, right? Dave Warren, he works here, he designs knives. I like that. I like the thought of that I'm buying, I'm getting the quality, like Beard of the Weirdo says, as long as the product is made good, right? So I'm getting that level of quality for the bang for the buck for the price, but I'm still also supporting a USA person, family, company, something.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, some people disagree with me, but I've looked at the numbers, and even if you're buying a Chinese-made knife from a Chinese company, like say you buy the Riat, you're buying this Riat. The majority of the money that you just spent on that actually stays stateside.
Yeah, I know.
The majority of that money stays here. Okay, so I have another question.
Or something. Yeah.
I've got another question for you, because I set up a bunch of questions.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Shoot them.
Okay, what is the most, in your opinion, what is the most useful knife that you own currently? Like all around usefulness. Like I had my outdoor knife, or my off the grid, but like I wouldn't ask you that. You're a city boy. So I'm just kidding. But like useful knives, it doesn't have to be one you've owned. Like just all around. What do you think the most useful all around knife?
Well, to be honest, like I think if we're talking folders, right? Just folders, I think the Sabenza for use specifically, right? And I'm saying,
how convenient that you said that, because there's one right here. Because I was going to say the same thing.
I'm saying that because of a bunch of different things. Like I'm saying that because of the level of build quality, because of the geometry, because of the sharpening choil, because of the ease of takedown and sharpening, and just so many facets, right?
Universal hardware. It doesn't matter if you get them mixed up.
So many,
like you said, longevity of the blade, because it is that good hollow, easy to sharpen, and it's comfortable. And I mean, build quality. And I mean,
technically it gets thinner behind the edge the first couple times you sharpen it. So
yeah, it does, because it's almost
so many good things about it. And regardless, for the people,
I was hoping that's what I was hoping that's what you're saying, because mine was right here.
Yeah, it is for a user as a tool, in which that's what I try to look at. Like when I see a knife, first thing I look for it as is the quality of tool it is, right? Don't get me wrong. I love fidget factor. I love great action, smoothness. I love all that shit, right? I love it all. That's why I like so many different kinds of knives. But the one thing I want it to do is make sense for what it's used for.
Yes, exactly.
I don't mind different blade shapes. I don't mind different grinds, but I want it to make sense to where it's like, this is a tool that makes sense for what it's for. Not something, because there's so many times I see something that just, it's like, that doesn't make sense. Like I had a knife, I don't know, a couple months ago or something. It was like 35 thousandths behind the edge, yet the ergos hurt your hand just to use. And it's like, just me using this thing, it's like me trying to use a cactus. Right, because it's so hard to push through anything.
The video I did yesterday, and I would get it out, but it's not my knife, and I packed it back up because my buddy's coming to pick it up first thing tomorrow. I did that Boker, that JB Stout lateralis. Have you gotten to see one of those?
I seen the video you did.
I saw that knife and I looked at it. I was like, I didn't even want to. I was like, man, I don't even want to sharpen this because I know it's going to hurt my hand. That knife was super. If it wasn't for the fact that I've got, like somebody said it earlier, big Sasquatch hands.
It's kind of like this.
Yeah,
this is a Boker.
And that's the reason the Koenig Arius. I could never buy a Koenig Arius as much as it is a great knife. And I hope Bill doesn't ever get upset, because I know I've said it a bunch of times. But
this one actually is a little bit bigger. So
yeah, but by the time I get in on that knife, it feels like I'm being pushed in, and I imagine over time I would get used to it. But as far as like hot spots and things that I was expecting to see, I was not really.
It was better than you thought.
Yeah, like I said, granted, if I had smaller hands, it would fit my hand better, because I wouldn't be like I can only get 2 fingers in it. But what is this, Mike? Do you ever get upset when you hear something about nice American knife makers who make poor qualities? You know what? I just get upset. I get upset when a company. I get upset when a company puts out a lower quality knife and tries to say it's a high quality knife, and then tries to shame people for not liking their stuff. You know what I mean? There's some companies that are just kind of nasty about, like, if you talk bad about their knife, they just get nasty about it.
I don't like that. I hate that.
I do too. So that brings me to a question I have for you.
Mm.
A knife that you thought you were going to hate, but the second you got it, you liked it.
The Kaiser Horn.
I haven't seen that one.
It's so fucking ugly. It's the ugliest thing you ever seen, but damn it, is it good? You know, I've tried sending knives to Lefty EDC. He fucking hates everything. And
it's just because he's him.
That one, and he's like, he had to admit it, like, this thing is great. It's so ugly, though. It's so ugly.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense, but damn it. And it has a removable flipper tab, so you don't have to have the flipper tab on it. I know.
Oh my God.
Hey.
Oh my God.
Hey.
Oh my God. Guys, if you haven't seen one, I'm pulling it up right now. Please try not to vomit in your own mouth. I threw up a little bit when I saw it.
That flipper tab's removable, though.
You know what it looks like? What are those weird, like, river dolphins with the weird beaks? You know what I'm talking about?
You know what I said it looked like? An English bulldog, because they're ugly as fuck but cute at the same time.
No, that doesn't share any of those qualities.
I'm just saying because they're ugly.
I see zero redeeming qualities in the way that knife looks.
You tried it though?
I know, but I bet I can look at it and say I bet that knife really, really does cut well.
It cuts very well. It's actually really thin behind the edge.
What's going on with this?
And it's very comfortable. And the micarta is done extremely well. Kaiser's new micarta is all USA made.
Jeremy Russell, what is that?
That's a good knife right there. The Shirogorov.
I can't justify a Shirogorov.
You don't have to justify it. I'm just saying it's a good knife.
Oh yeah, I know. I just because I got a buddy who's all about
like that. This thing is really good quality.
I get that, and I've seen a couple of the newer ones. Like my buddy Chris has one, and it's got that new bearing system where it's the. I got news for you guys. If you get one of the new Shiros, don't up and just take it apart and think you're gonna be able to pull the bearing race off because it looks like a regular bearing race.
Yeah, no,
it's more akin. It's more akin to IKBS. You'll be surprised. You're like, oh crap, I gotta buy new bearings.
If the grease is in there, they'll hold in there, but sometimes that's where you'll get fooled because you'll pick them up and the balls will stay in there, and then you'll go to like this, and then ding, 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 ding. Where'd they go?
Nothing beats an inexperienced knife person that takes their IKBS apart for the first time and did not know.
Yeah.
So okay, there's that. Here's a good one. So we're an hour in. There's 44 people here. Custom knives. Do you think custom knives are kind of becoming a thing of the past?
Yes.
Yeah. Why do you think? And I'll give you the reason why I think.
I think so, just because these production companies have gotten to with their CNC machines have gotten to a level that it's very difficult for custom knife makers to get to. And then even the ones that can, right? The ones that can, hats off to them, man, because it's fucking artwork. But
it's all right. I don't think this one's going to get monetized anyway.
But,
I don't know, though. The one I did about Paulo, about the Mars knife, that one got monetized.
Did it?
Yeah, we talked really bad about a lot of things.
But yeah,
so, don't even worry about it. It's fine.
I think that the ones that can do it, they can't give it to you for a price that barely anybody can afford. The people that can, good for them. But when I can get the same level of quality for X amount of dollars,
or better,
5 times less than and a lot of times way better, because there are a lot of production knives where I've tried the production version of that custom, and it was hands down way better.
I hate to say it, and because I'm friends with a lot of custom makers, and there are some exceptions, like Jim Skelton.
There are exceptions. That's right.
Jim Skelton. Yeah. Jim works as much as people might not like him. Jim works all day, every day. He does not take breaks. Like I was trying to talk to him earlier today, and I was like, "Hey, you got time for a call?" He goes, "Bro, I barely have time to even read a text." He's like, the kid's home from school because there was a coof pandemic breakout at his school. He's like, I got a year's worth of knives sitting on my bench in drawing form. And I mean, he doesn't. It's not like people that are on the books that are waiting. Like Jim actually plans a year's worth of knives out.
Yeah.
And then just sells them. And he's like, and so Jim is working. And so Jim is not one of the guys I'm about to mention. But the problem with a lot of custom knife makers, myself included, is we get lazy. We're like, yeah, I'll just make that knife. And then you're like, oh, okay, I'll do it. And then you're sitting around and you're doing something else. And you're like, oh, well, I could do this. And then the next thing you know, showtime's coming up. And you realize that the show is in 4 weeks. And you got to do 12 knives in 4 weeks. And so you're staying up all night. You're staying up, you're working, you're not doing it right. You're cutting corners. And so by the time you get to the show and you bring those 12 knives to the show, none of them are what they could have been if you had just taken the time and done them right and worked on them a little bit each day.
Right.
And they don't ever break that habit. And that's why very rarely do I ever buy show knives except from specific makers.
Right.
If I'm at a show, if I buy a Jeremy Marsh, I have bought a Jeremy Marsh. I bought a McStrider. I've bought a Terzuola. I've bought several custom knife maker knives that I won the lotteries for. And I turned around, I did sell them. I had a, what's his name? He did the one for ZT. Super, super expensive.
I know what you're talking about. You're talking about,
at any rate, I
know
bought one.
who you're talking about.
I bought one for $2,000 and sold it that night for
his
12.
knives are really expensive, though.
Yeah, I bought it for $2 and sold it for 12 that night. I made $10,000 in a night.
Damn.
And I didn't even have to do any butt stuff. So I mean,
lucky that day.
Yeah, right. I didn't even have to go brush my teeth.
I felt a bunch of customs that are insane. I mean, they're so good. Like, it almost doesn't even make sense that they can do the level of quality they do. But
I'm hitting a thermos with a 50 cal machine gun bullet with a 50 cal BMG.
It's just hard to justify the price when you could get the same level of quality for a quarter of the price, even though it's not. Well, I'm saying that, like, I'm saying the same level of quality as a knife, right? Like, obviously it's not done by hand. A machine is doing it. But the fact that a hand can do it, trust me, I appreciate that. I overwhelmingly appreciate that somebody can do that by hand, and I justify the money. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth every penny. I'm just saying,
you saw the one I did. You saw the one I did with that deep hollow and the Kevlar handles that I did for my buddy Tino. And that was a hollow that I got down to 0.011 behind the edge on a hollow, which means that the next time that it's sharpened, it's going to be thinner than that. Yeah, it's a Rexford. There you go. I bought a Todd Rexford for $2,000 and sold it for 12 that night. And it was insane. But here's the thing. Rexford's an exception to that. Mike,
I thought you were talking about Sinkovich. Yeah, because Sinkovich. I thought you were talking about Sinkovich.
No.
Okay, Rexford. Okay,
Rexford, and so he's an exception to that because he'll make a knife and he just makes a certain number of knives. He just takes his time and he does it the way he wants. But there's a lot of these makers that, like, if you buy a knife from you're better off to get their contact info, get on their books, and let them make it at their pace, as opposed to like, oh, I'll buy it at the show, and then you get it. Sure. I had a guy that came to me. I gave him my card. Pardon me. I had kimchi on rice for supper. I'm going to burp a lot. And so I had this guy. I gave him my contact info at the show, and he gets a hold of me the next day as I'm getting ready to go to the show. And he goes, bro, I don't want to say anything to this cat. He's like, but I bought that knife from him yesterday. I was like, yeah. And he goes, it doesn't even have an edge on it. Like he didn't even put an edge on it. It's like, it's ground, but it's not sharpened. And there was a guy that bought a knife at the show and then realized, it's like, bro, this knife doesn't even lock, because they'd never radiused the lock bar. And it's just those things that happen. Jeremy Marsh doesn't do that. Jim Skelton doesn't do that. Todd Rexford doesn't. Mike Rudolph or Randolph, which is it? I can't remember.
There's a lot of South African makers that knock it out of the park.
Oh, yeah.
I've handled a lot of South African knife makers. And holy cow.
The Jason Guthrie Scout. Like, I really want one of those so bad.
Andre Thorburn. There's a bunch of them that are just, it's like, oh my goodness.
Guys, cheers. If you just showed up, it's Friday night. We're having a couple beers. If you're watching this on Twitch, I don't know how many people are watching this on Twitch. There's no one watching it on Twitch. I don't know why I'm even doing it on Twitch. But if you guys are watching it is Friday. And happy Friday the 13th to you guys. I will tell you guys right now, I'm going to try and keep this to 2 hours, but what we might do is end the cast at 2 hours and then do like an after show. If you guys want, we can just come back and hang out for a little bit, but I have to end it at 2 hours for us to meet the requirements for Twitch. They have a 2 hour requirement. Why is my mouse not working? This thing's really making me upset. I'm just gonna have to use my trackpad. I have to find it, but there's a knife. I was gonna ask you, best all around budget knife company. What company you think right now is providing for a budget? And it doesn't, I'm not saying like $40, $50. I'm saying like in that budget knife bracket from like 150. Two Sons. You think Two Sons is doing it?
100%. Nobody.
You know the problem I have with Two Sons?
You haven't tried enough. You haven't tried enough.
You can't ever find,
because like they
have too big. I talked about this with Russell offline. We were talking about it. Two Sons, they're trying to do too many things at once. You can't ever get one. Like somebody says, "Oh, this knife's great." You can't ever find it.
Yeah, you can't.
And they're just trying to make too many knives. And by the time you find one you like, you're never gonna. If you happen to had one, you're never gonna get that knife again because they're trying to do too many.
No, the thing is that the new ones, the brand new ones, when they first hit out, yeah, everybody wants the new ones. So you have to wait a couple months for them to do like the second run of it, and then you can get that same knife. Because the thing is, you can get it. It's just you're gonna pay what it's worth at that point, because you make the market for Two Sons. So like, say this knife, right? This knife you can get right now from Amazon for $150, right? If you want to get it for $100, right, you can, but you're going to bid on it on eBay and you're going to fight people for it. So if you just know how
I don't ever trust eBay. I've gotten screwed too many times. As a matter of fact, I'm in the process of waiting. I had to get money. No, I ordered something off of eBay and I got a tracking number, and I kept tracking it. It says that the number's been. They took my money. It says that the tracking number's been.
The one selling them though, and you can see it because
I'm just saying I don't care. I don't trust anything on eBay, because the fact is now I'm gonna have to wait months for eBay to give me that money back. So, and it wasn't for a knife. It was a fucking refrigerator.
Okay. Well, for the Two Sons though, there's like two sellers that sell them, and like D-Wing 99 or whatever. If you're getting it from him, very reliable. But you can get it from Amazon too, same thing, and then Amazon covers it. But you're going to pay a little bit more from Amazon. You can get them from White Mountain Knives, but they do sell out right away. As soon as they hit there, bam, they're gone. Because you're getting sometimes, depending on the designer, right? But sometimes, because there's like 300 of them, right? So there's probably like 30 of them that are $350, $450 knives that you can get for $150.
I don't. Those ones you sent me, they were great. But I'm going to tell you, like the one that I can see that is consistent.
Those weren't even like the great ones.
No, they were great. They were good.
Yeah, they were great.
There's two companies I'm going to mention, and it's because the two knives you sent me, you're absolutely right. Those two Kaisers you sent me were really awesome. The action on the Kaisers now have gotten way better. Like that one you sent me, which I can't remember what the what. So there's the one with the recurve blade, and then there's the little Warncliffe one.
Yeah,
that looks like both those are great. But another company that a lot of people forget, and I really would go to if I was going to say that I wanted QSP.
That's one right there. Yeah, QSP is doing a great job too.
QSP is doing good. They got a titanium version of this coming out.
Yeah,
I actually like this. Like, I wouldn't want to.
I almost bought the titanium version the other day.
But I can't remember what steel the titanium version one is in.
I think it's S35. No, maybe it's M390. I'm not sure. Maybe it's S35. I'm not. Oh no, 154 CM, right?
Yeah. See, that's like everybody's like, oh, you should get the titanium one. I was like, well, I mean, can I take the blade out? Can I take the blade out of this one? Put it. If I had to get 154 CM or D2, I would much rather have D2. I'd just coat it like I did this one.
But yeah, I think so. Like, if you were gonna ask me like the best working knife, meaning as a tool, as a knife for work and stuff like that, Civivi, because, and the same reason for the Sebenza, their grinds are so even, their heat treats are so good, their choils are really good. their action, their fit and finish is on point. So
Yeah,
to me,
it's
that is a
freaking
very
great.
reliable way to go for a user knife. Now, if you're going to ask me, I want the best quality, best materials, best fit and finish, best action, best this, best that. I'd say Tucson, because you're going to get, close to React quality for a quarter of the price.
Oh, yeah, they're great. Like I said, you sent me the two you sent me. One of them, I just I didn't feel like I could give it a good I couldn't give it a good review at all. Like I really wasn't going to be able to say much.
Well loved by the community.
I know it is. I just there was
he
so many
hated
things
the
about
129 guys. Everybody dislike this video now and run. I'm sure.
It's not that I hated it. It's just not a knife that I would have
hated it. This is a pretty good one right here. This 305. It's big though. I should send it to you, but because you have big hands, so
yeah.
This one's
that's not necessarily true, because this one is way up there on my list of almost perfect knives.
Yeah, that's a great knife. That's a great knife. I had one of those. I gave one away to the patrons. That's a great knife. Yeah. But yeah, Kaiser though is doing a killer job for budget knives. Like they are knocking, they're just coming out with more and more designs.
Yeah.
But
well, I was looking at that one. What was it? The Beg Letter 2.
This is a Detolith. Kaiser's making their knives, but I mean, you can see how smooth it is.
The one that really surprised me, that I'm not gonna lie, I've said it before. Like I was like, I'm not gonna own those. I've had a couple of them that they're just pretty much garbage. That Kubi Raven you sent me, that's a good knife. I was like,
okay, good job.
Okay, Kubi.
Yeah.
Ken, are you talking about this one? Ken, are you talking about this one? It's the CJRB RIA.
Yeah. Their micarta is really good too. CJRBs. Yeah. That's USA micarta, right? I think so. I'm pretty confident.
They don't make micarta in Japan. They have to buy it in the States.
Right.
Micarta is not a thing in Japan. That's why it's so hard to get.
You mean China?
Yeah, China. They don't make. I'm sorry. They don't have micarta. It's not anything
real. But I've seen some of their shit micarta they've tried to make, and it always looks like crap.
Well, it's because micarta had an actual purpose. Micarta was used as insulators in the electrical industry for years. That's why you had Westinghouse micarta. Right. It was used as insulator material. Yeah. And it's used for circuit boards. But in China, they started using integrated circuit boards that they're G10 now. They're not micarta. And they didn't need these micarta insulators. So they've never had it. They never used it. It had already gotten phased out by the time China really got into the electronics industry and shit. So now they have no need for it. So they just don't make it. It's like soft loops. What are the weirdest things? You can't buy soft loops in China. Like they don't make these in China. You have to buy American-made soft loops.
Well, that's been one of the things. Put our investments.
That's one of the things. So like Elliot's fixed blades that he had made by Wii. I can't tell you how many hours I've sat in Elliot's shop and helped him build up and put all the hardware together from these big bags of soft loops so that he can pack them in the boxes with his fixed blade from Wii, because you can't get them. So they have to send them to him. And every one of those, if you bought a Ferrum Forge Lackey, there's a good chance that I put together the set of soft loops that's in the box for you, because I sat and I helped Elliot while I was just there. I was just putting the hardware on him, putting them in the thing.
That's a good one.
I saw the video about that. That thing looks nasty.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I like it a lot.
The only problem I have with the recurve and the recurve Tontos is if you're someplace and you just don't have the right tools, it's gonna be a pain to sharpen it. It really is.
I just take it home at that point and just do it. But like
we were talking about falling off the grid. That's
if you're falling off the grid, it's not the one you're going to want.
If I'm falling off the grid, as much as I love this knife, I'm going to take it with me, but it's probably going to be stuck in a tree somewhere after the first month. Be like, I hate leaving this behind, but here you go. I can't carry it anymore.
Yeah, I like to think like off the grid, I'm going to want my Micarta or G10 just for the comfort. If it's a folder, I'm saying, even if it's a fixed blade, if it's a fixed blade,
hang on a second.
I
got to address this.
Yeah,
Kyle, was I sharpening knives? I was sharpening knives while we were doing it, right? I didn't say I was doing a sharpening tutorial. I don't do the sharpening tutorials on live Zoom. I'm just talking while I'm sharpening a knife. We talk about certain things, but the fact is, my sharpening tutorials, that's reserved for the premium tier paying members. That's what they have.
The problem is when you do a live sharpening, you can't show the edges. Let me try to show you an edge right now.
Yeah.
How good can you see that? Because you can't, it's so difficult to see edges on lives. The level of quality because it's live. So it's like right now, look at me now. Now I'm fucking blurry. Like it's just,
Well,
I can't.
I'm good with that. That actually makes it a little bit better.
It's literally, it's so difficult to do anything.
Well, and to set it up, because
live a bunch of times, and
if I'm doing a live, I'm doing it from the front-facing camera of my phone. It's sitting. You guys are sitting on a coffee can. I'm not saying I'm doing a live tutorial. I've filmed sharpening tutorials.
I do live sharpening.
There's several of them, and I've put them up, and they're behind the paywall for the premium tier paying members. Because to tell you the truth, for me to teach a class, I've actually charged people $60 for a class to sharpen, like the basics of sharpening. So I mean, I'm not going to do it for free. I mean, when I say it's a live sharpening, you're watching me sharpen. I'm just talking to you guys. It's just me BSing while I'm actually sharpening.
After I'm done sharpening in a live, usually I tell everybody to go to Instagram to see the edge, because I can't show them. And I literally, I'll get them nice and close so I can sit there and teach the sharpening, answer all the questions, and actually they can watch the sharpening, right? That's fine. That's not a problem. But then for me to show them details, like, okay, right now, the grit is at the top of the bevel and we're trying to get to the bottom. I can't show them that.
Yeah,
I can't. It's impossible. The quality is just not, it just doesn't translate through a live.
Especially on a live, quality on a live coming across like, until it, like when you watch it the first time, you're watching it like 480p. Yeah. And then it renders to 1080p. Mm-hmm. So if you were to, even if I was to do it, it takes like a day. It takes like 24 hours for that to fully render after I do an hour-long live feed, unless I do it this way, because this goes fast. This is recording and buffering and sending it all at the same time. I actually get better quality live feeds this way. But yeah, you're not gonna be able to see it.
I've never done a sharpening on StreamYard, but like on a regular live though, yeah, it's just so difficult because it's the little fine.
Because I'm using my laptop. I'm using my laptop for StreamYard, and like I would have water all over my $1,000 laptop. No,
try showing facets on a live.
Oh, you can't.
No, you can't
see it.
And that's the shit you're trying to show. That's why it's just easier just to record it when it does that. But the lives are best when you're sharpening for the information that you're saying out of your mouth.
Yeah. And most of the time it's like I said, it's just for fun. It's just us hanging out because I get bored and I don't want to watch YouTube. I don't want to watch Netflix. I'd rather just talk with you guys. Okay. So what do you have? Okay. What is in your pocket that you're carrying? Because everyone's going to say I'm carrying my Norseman.
You want to hear what's funny? The knife you hate, that Tucson.
I don't hate it. I didn't hate it.
It's just in my pocket just because I knew you were going to say something.
I'm not actually carrying my Norseman. This has been in my pocket all evening. I've had this in my pocket since
the Tucson TS129 for everybody.
That was, dude. Like I told you, I don't like top flippers, and then it was just.
Well, it's a reverse flicker though too.
I don't care. I just didn't like it as much. Yeah, I like the other one you sent me. That other one was great.
Yeah, that thing is sweet. That thing is really sweet. I like that knife a lot. I want to ask you.
Poor Cue Ball. That's right. Cue Ball's on an airplane.
Yeah, he's always on a plane. He lives on a plane. Okay, so do you think, and you can answer this however you want, but do you think throwing knives make a valuable weapon?
Why would I want to throw away my only weapon?
Well, let's say, like, because
I'd rather have. Do you know what I would rather have?
I know what you'd rather.
It's going to be I'm going to tell you something that I can have that I can throw that's every bit as effective.
Screwdriver?
No, a short chunk of brass, a piece of brass round stock. I'll throw that because guess what? If I hit you in the head with it, if I hit you with a knife, I might stick it in you. I might actually cut you. I might do some damage. I hit you in the head with a 1 pound chunk of brass that's like a 1 inch round piece of round stock that I've wrapped, and I throw that thing, and I can use it up close like a club. I can use it like a cudgel. I can use it as an arm bar tool, and if I throw it at you, it's going to do some damage. I used to throwing knives are fun.
Throwing. I used to do some knife throwing, and I
did too.
I had a silhouette, like a human silhouette. I got really good, like really good. Like right now, there's no way I could throw it like I did then. And
my throwing tomahawk is up there on the thing. It's just fun, but useful? No.
I took like probably 50 different things, screwdrivers, different kinds of knives, different fixed blades, different this. I had everything because I wanted to be able to throw anything, right? Yeah. And I did this for like, I don't know, like a year, and I got really good, really accurate and everything. And even at the depth, the level of depth that some of these blades would go was insane. Like there was no way, like it would for sure kill you, right? And I don't want to say that word right now, but
forever sleep, perma sleep,
know,
perma sleep you.
I also know, like say that one guy, he's a professional knife thrower, right? And he carries them, and you can watch him throw super accurate, super deep. He's even custom made his own throwers. Like that type of guy, I think, yeah, he has a damn good weapon always on him, and probably 20 of them. But for the regular person, you're not going to carry that many. You're going to carry one, and you're throwing your weapon away.
Thank you, Aiden. Because we know as many F-bombs as me and Jerad have dropped, this is probably not getting monetized.
No, but that's why I always say, I mean, I cuss all the time in mine, but and I monetize them. But that's why I always say that if you are gonna do it within 6 feet. Don't do it at 12 feet. Don't do it at 15 feet because you're throwing your weapon to them. Now they have it. So that's why when I was throwing knives, my neighbor says, he said, try doing that at 20 feet. And I said, why? So I could throw my weapon and then also have the chance that it doesn't go through his chest plate. Like, no, when I throw it, I want to make sure it's stopping power, it's going through whatever, and that I don't miss.
Well, here's the thing.
You know what I mean? Like you want to be
okay. It's like Bruce Lee always talked about when people break bricks and break boards.
They don't hit back.
They don't hit back. Okay, throwing a knife at a silhouette, that's great. That's great, even at 6 feet. But I got news for you.
Around.
I'm a big dude, but I still got some pretty quick reflexes, and I can still move real fast. And I've seen people are always surprised because, like I said, I've taken martial arts my whole life, and I'm like we'll play around and we're doing stuff, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Holy crap! I didn't know you could move that fast." Throwing a knife at someone, there's too many variables. The fact is, if you're within 6 or 8 feet, especially if you're a big guy like me and I can cover that 6 foot distance like that, I would much rather have. Rather just have a knife that I can get to you at the 6 foot.
I agree.
Because you're not gonna, like I've said so many times, you can't clear leather before I get my knife out. What was this?
I wouldn't want to throw my knife away, but
cue ball.
Thanks, cue ball.
Thank you, sir.
But with the right throwing tool, though, right throwing knife, I do think it's very effective. I just wouldn't want to throw it away and risk them something happening. Right? I'd rather have it in my hand. So
way too many variables. In that for me to even think that's a good idea.
Give it to you.
Yeah, here you go. Oh, I had a weapon. Here you go. Or you like ding 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 ding. Oh, great!
It didn't go the way I thought. That
didn't work out. That didn't work out the way it worked. That didn't work out the way it happened in my backyard.
My silhouette.
But that's not fair. You moved.
Yeah.
I will tell you what I would much rather have at the 6 foot. What I would much rather have at the 6 foot mark, and I talked about this in a video a while back, and I never really had gotten a good one. Now, having taken martial arts, a lot of people, you shouldn't be recommending a knife as a tool for self-defense. Here's the thing. What the best tool for self-defense is? The one you have. And the fact is, I got this. This is that wee knife incisor. Mm-hmm. And the way this comes out of the pocket, if you grab that ring and you pull it up and it snaps open, this is like the quick draw pocket pistol of the knife world. And I got news for you. It doesn't take a lot of training with this knife to do a lot of damage because it's simply with that.
Yeah, I basically say whatever knife in my pocket is going to be effective because I think more than the knife, it's going to be the person. And I have no problem using the knife.
There's a psychological effect to that. Like I've had this in my pocket, and it doesn't show real greatly. And it's just a little ring, and you put that in your pocket. Somebody says, "Well, what would you do, like in this situation?" I'm like, "Well, I just snap," and they're like, "Oh my." I wasn't expecting that.
I've seen people get cut by knives. I've seen knife fights, and I've seen people get stabbed.
Oh, it's nasty.
Most people don't even acknowledge that it's happening. They think they're in a fist fight. And there's usually a lot of struggling, but then, I mean, the blood's everywhere, right? But yeah, it's something that it's not like what people ever think, like in the movies or anything. A lot of times, man, they don't even see the knife. And it just winds up being there, because somebody's using it.
And it's never the big knife like you see in a movie. It's always like a little knife, and it does a ton of damage. Like, I've got I don't know where it went. I
But
have
you're
that
getting
little
cut,
I
you
have
don't
that little
even know
urban
it. You
towel.
think you're getting punched. My one buddy, he was a bouncer.
Yeah.
He was a bouncer and he got into a fight with the guy, and the guy had stabbed him 5 times, and he told me, he said, I thought I was getting punched. I literally thought I was getting punched. But then afterwards he had a bunch of poke marks, you know. But yeah.
Oh, I got a buddy that was
karambits and auto karambits.
So folding karambits and auto karambits. I don't like auto karambits, and I'm not a big fan of most wave featured knives because I don't like having to adjust the way I pull it out of my pocket and then have it deploy. The fact is, if this is in my pocket, I'm going to it. This is my shit neighborhood knife. If I put this in my pocket, I have every intention of deploying it the second. If this comes out of my pocket, the only reason somebody's going to know I have this is because they need to, and they're going to the hospital. And so I don't like the auto karambits because the fact is I have to deploy it and then I have to adjust my grip for the way I want. This snaps right. I mean, this thing waves like crazy. Like, it is insane. That little tab is just perfect. Like I'm saying, like, it takes nothing. It takes nothing and that deploys. And then you've got that vicious recurve edge with that. It's brutal.
But yeah, and usually when you see the knife, usually it's because they want you to see the knife and they don't want to fight you.
Or you see the knife and it's already too late and you realize that you're bleeding.
But that's my point though. At that point though, that's when you don't even see it coming. Like, it's like usually you're in the fight, right? And then there's the knife. But if you see the knife, it's because they want you to see it and they don't want to fight.
It's a deterrent. It's a deterrent.
They don't want to fight.
That's why I carry a gun. Like, you should probably back up.
Yeah, it's just different. You can't really talk about that too much.
Yeah, you can get away with saying it once, just can't show it, and we'll continue with pews.
Yeah.
Monster Racing has got a GoFundMe. I'm going to mention this every time. I keep forgetting. I saw him a couple times. Monster Racing here. That is his handle on Instagram. If you go follow him, he has got a GoFundMe going. He's trying to get off the ground. I hope. What's the current tally? If you got more I'm hoping that you got more than you asked for. That's always the goal of a GoFundMe, especially a well worth one like that.
Stop the threat. Absolutely.
I've
stop the threat by any means necessary.
I've reached that point, and my friends will tell you, like, if Mike has to get his old ass into a skirmish or an altercation, it's gonna be ugly because he's going to hurt you as quickly as he can, as fast as he can, as badly as he can, because I ain't got that kind of energy anymore. Kurt. Sorry, Kurt.
Thanks, Kurt.
Jade, what's my carry pew pew? My current carry pew pew is a Sig Sauer SP 2022 in 40 SNW. Because if it doesn't start with a 4, it's just not enough bore. I don't like 9mm. So, Mark,
I'm a felon. I can't carry.
Oh, you can request to have those.
Not yet. I can't.
Why not? I mean, how long do you have to wait?
Well, you can, depending on the level of your felony, it's the minimum 5 years, maximum 20. I'm more in the I can like apply like after 5, which I'm hitting the 5-year mark, but I definitely wouldn't get it the first time, probably not even the second. It'd probably take me like.
Well, you're in Chicago. You're not going to get it. You have to go somewhere else.
No, I'm not going to get it. No, I already know that. But if
I have the tritium night sights on it, and that is one of the best things in the world because you don't have to expose them to light. They could have been in your drawer for a month, and you pull that thing out, and they still glow because it's tritium, and it's great. But I actually have a rail light on mine, so I really don't necessarily.
But I was told they've never when I tried to talk to them about it, my lawyers and everything, they said they've never seen anybody ever be able to do it. Not under 20 years is what they said. But
not
the law say 5 though. I'm saying the law say 5. Now you can do black powder though. That's not considered a firearm, so technically
it's called antiques
right?
Antiques and curios.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily an antique, but that's what it's classified.
Yeah, that's what it classifies. Anything anything that was designed and built more than 45 years old, anything that was designed or built more than 100 years, which is
Right. But it can be built last year or this year, but the design.
Yes.
So like right now I can order one, right? Brand new 2021 black powdered 6-shooter and be just fine, right? But I can't, do the others.
Yeah, because it's called a cure. Yeah, you don't even have to have a license for that. I've got several.
No, that's what I mean. It's not considered a firearm. It's considered like a pellet gun.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just as powerful as a regular firearm. Like I've shot a lot. I've shot a bunch of them.
It's still 86 degrees in this garage, bro. It's 86 degrees in my garage still. I was out.
I'm in a basement.
I was out all day. I had some legal stuff I had to take care of. Yo. I was out all day. I had some legal stuff that happened on a farm back home, and I had to take care of it. So I had to go to this lawyer's office because they were transferring paperwork, and we were conversing with the. Basically, they were allowing me to use. It's free. They did it for me pro bono. We had an easement with the township, and they actually cut a big swath on our property, but they weren't supposed to, and they have to repair it because they were like, no, it's here, and I'm like, no, your easement's all the way over here, and there's actually already an access. And so basically you made a new road that you now have to fix all the damage you did to the farm. So it didn't take as long as I thought it would, but I was out for a lot of the day. I didn't have my garage door open.
With the Ohio boys?
Yeah. What's up, my friends? Richie B Modifications. Is that Richie from, is that?
Yep, Nice Modders.
Yeah, that's Lindy's Richie.
Shout out to
How's it going, bud? Are you going to be, so I talked to Lindy. I guess you guys are going to be Wednesday next week. Are you going to be on there with us, Ricky, or is it just going to be Lindy? Or Richie? Not Ricky, Richie. So if you guys don't know, next week I have Josh Brooks, the lead editor for Full30.com. He's going to be on the show on Monday, and we're going to talk about Full30 and all that stuff. And Wednesday is Richie and Lindy Lou from Knife Modders. And then Friday is BGM Knives next week. And then the following Monday, I'm taking off. We're not doing a podcast on that.
BGMs.
Yeah, I talked with John. He's got
great heat treats, man. Holy shit, he does some good heat treats.
I've done some heat treat for a few people. I can't remember. I don't think BGM was one of the guys that I did heat treat for, but there's been a handful of like knife makers that have been like, hey, like, can you just figure out a crazy heat treat? And Elliot and I'll sit down and look at spec sheets. And I did a heat treat on some S110V for a guy in Oregon. And I sent it off to him, and he goes, he sent me the blank, and I heat treated it. I sent it back off, and he gets it. And he goes, what did you do to this? He's like, I can't grind this.
Right.
Like, this is insane. He's like, did you temper it? I'm like, yeah, it's tempered. Like that's S110. I think we figured out it was like 64 or 65. Yeah. Like the blank, you could cut the neck on a glass bottle.
Yeah. So it's probably over 66. I think.
Yeah. Oh no, that was before temper. So like after temper, before or right after heat treat before temper, you could cut glass.
That's crazy.
Glass with it. I did. Now that last one I did for Matt, even after temper, I could cut the neck of a glass bottle with it. Wow. So it was 66 or 67.
Yeah, because I think that's what Triple B said.
Yeah, that's what Sean. Yeah, Sean and I were talking about.
You can start cutting glass.
60
hard. Think about that.
Like a high 65 into 66, 67. Yeah,
people can fathom or understand how hard that is. Think about glass. Like if you drop glass, it shatters because it's so hard. That's how hard your steel is. Because
but it's got that resilience. If you do the proper temper, it still has that resilience in it. People were talking about, like, I was like that S125V that I had. It was like 66, 67. Yeah. I was cutting the neck on beer bottles with it. And I ground that into Matt's knife. And they're like, well, how hard is it to grind? And I was like, literally the first belt, I put it on and it just like, I knocked the corner off. Yeah. And I felt the belt and there just was like, it's done.
Yeah, I bet.
I burned, and I'm like, so that first belt, I'm like, there's $4. Yeah, I'm like, well, there's $4.
Right.
And then I pull that belt off. I throw another one on, and you go for about 30 seconds. And you're like, so people are like, why do your custom knives cost so much? It's like, because the steels I'm using, I'm doing a fairly crazy heat treat on. Not quite, not what Big Brown Bear does, but it's still a fairly crazy heat treat.
Right.
I have never, like, I made a knife for David Horseman over at Hiking with Viking. I did it in 1095 because he wanted a carbon steel, so I did it in 1095. And I started grinding it, and my belts lasted forever. I was like, Elliot, is this heat treat right? He goes, no, yes, the heat treat's right. He's like, that's 1095. It's not 20 CV. It's 64 Rockwell. That's what most. He's like, that's what most knife makers are used to. He's like, you're used to like burning through belts, like, and that's why people are like, why are your knives so expensive? I was like, because the steels I make them out of, I burn through so many belts that like
Nathan
I've got
said, ceramic belts. Those Cubitron belts, those things are like 6 times the price. Just
but
FYI.
Here's the thing. I'm using there are cheap. I'm getting 3M ceramic belts. They're called hoggers. They're the guys that sell them. They just buy a big sheet of the material and they make their own. They cut them off. And every once in a while you get a flawed one and it's not straight and stuff like that. But they're like $3. They're still ceramic. I'm still using ceramic abrasive. I'm using an 80 grit ceramic
ones are the way to go. Like they last like 6 times longer, but they're also like
I disagree. I've tried.
I've been watching a knife a knife grinder online, and he used these one belts for years. And then
I have
these other belts, and then everybody kept telling him try the Cubitrons, and then he wouldn't because they were just so damn expensive. He just couldn't fathom buying those. But then he said after he did, he said, no,
if you're grinding something, like I said, like 1095 or one of those softer steels or 154 CM, it's going to be fine. It's going to be great.
Right. In that case, you probably wouldn't want it.
Okay. So Richie, I'll tell you what, I actually sent an entire shipment of VSM belts back. They cut great. The problem I was having was, because I was using a glass platen, and the canvas side of it was leaving this plastic rubbery residue from whatever glue they used. And it was causing like high spots. And I had to send them back because they just kept. Have you ever had that where it gets this like gummy, nasty residue on your platen? I was just curious because I sent them back and then got their in-house brand Hoggers, and they use a different adhesive on the strip. And it was leaving like this gummy, gluey residue on the platen and on the back of the belt. And it just, you could feel it. Like all of a sudden it starts. Later, Russ. I don't think I've got any other questions. You want to tell a story? You got like 15 minutes.
Yeah. But first, I just want to ask you really quick.
Anytime we talk, nothing's ever really quick.
If you designed a folder, what would it look like?
If I designed a folder, what would it look like? It would probably. Here's why I haven't designed a folder. Because if I did either of the knives that I would do, if I designed a folder of the stonefish, this is what you would wind up getting.
Okay.
Because it's so similar to blade shape and everything. And by the time you do the blade, if you don't do a back lock, you're never going to be able. If you do a frame lock, you can't do the crazy handles and stuff that I do. And then the other one, I got a ding ding dinger. A ding, 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 a dingaroo.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
The only one to listen to for the money? No, here, jerk. You just gave me that money. And the other one is if you take the Habu, which is the drop point version of the sea snake, and Elliot and I did this, and it was weird because I didn't notice it until it was after it happened. And he rendered it and didn't catch it. And I was like, Elliot, I don't think I should make the Habu. And he's like, why? I was like, because that's exactly what it looks like. I mean, my handle's a little bit different, but I was like, I kind of feel weird. And he goes, why? He's like, why? Why wouldn't you make it? I was like, because it looks so similar to the Stinger. And he goes, I taught you how to make knives. That just kind of shows that you were paying attention. Mm-hmm. And so accidentally, Elliot and I came across like the same blade shape. Like if you look at my Habu, the render, the 2D, it's almost the same. It's almost identical.
Huh. Yeah, I think about it sometimes. Design knives. I talked to Niche. He said he could possibly help me out with some CAD work stuff. Oh, he's sending me some shirts, which is awesome. Can't wait to get those. Yeah. I just talked to him today.
Here's the thing. I don't want to have to, and I've said this before, like everybody's like, oh, well, are you going to design a folder? Are you going to design a folder? I don't have to do the weird figuring out bearing pockets and interface and how long the lock bar has to be.
More difficult, I know.
Like, I mean, I've seen the struggles that Chris and Elliot had doing.
I can imagine.
Doing the lock bars on these, because this is a short knife. So the amount of having a short lock bar, the amount of tension you have to have, and the radius that you have to have, and the different geometry on that lock bar, it's so much different. They literally fucked so many of these up and had to just throw them away.
But wouldn't the knife, like, say if you designed a knife from X company, don't they have to figure that part out though?
No, you have to provide them design.
No, I know that. I'm saying like the lock bar tension.
No, because that's part of the design.
Oh, okay.
Like they're only gonna be able to do that. Okay, so I'm amazed you don't use those crazy 3M Trizac belts. I have. What I'm telling you is, if you go to True Grit and you buy their in-house brand, which is called the Hoggers, I have seen zero difference. I've seen zero difference in the way those hold up to some of the more expensive ones. Now, if you get into the ones that are like $15-20 a belt, but I mean, so that's ridiculous. That just puts your knife even further out of the realm, and you're really not saving any money doing that. So those Hogger belts that are the 3M ceramic abrasive, I see no difference between those and those Trizac belts. I really don't. When you're dealing with steels, everybody's like, "Oh, you should get 50 grit." If you're doing 50 grit, you're really not. Well, I don't have a wet grind system. I just dip every pass. I just cool it every pass. I don't have a flood coolant system or a mister, so it doesn't really matter. So okay.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, but I go to 220 and that's it. I don't like much anything above 220. I've done some 600 grit, 400 grit Trizac finishes, and that's where you start seeing the grain structure of the steel. Okay, story time.
What kind of story?
I don't care. You pick.
Well, I didn't write any topics down. Give me a topic. Give me some sort of crazy topic.
Dumbest shit you ever did in high school.
Oh, dude, that's fucking too many lists. I can give you something. I mean, I did a lot of crazy shit in high school.
You don't have. I mean, if you don't have anything like actual story,
I got too much. That's the thing.
It's like, I mean, give me a minute to think about it.
Well, I wound up dropping out to take care of my dad because my dad got hurt when I was 17. So I dropped out and I got my GED. But before that, so I was living.
I got a lot of friends that got that good enough diploma.
Yeah, right. But I was living south of Chicago for like 3 years, and then I moved back. And when I moved back, like it was just like I was back, right? And it was just like night and day difference. Everything was different. I was back with like really bad school. This isn't my.
Well, you and I talked about where you lived.
Yeah,
out there at Zion.
Zion was speaking in North Chicago. Yeah.
The row houses out there.
Yeah, and
I've been there. I'm going to tell you guys. I was stationed up there, so I know where he's talking about.
I watched this dude. We were in the lunchroom or whatever, and I seen this dude walking, and all of a sudden I just seen like a crowd starting to surround him, and he had a chain on. So we had to, no matter what, when you walk in, you have a chain. You have to. It's not a chain, but a necklace you have to wear, and it has your card, which has your face.
Your class ID stuff.
Yeah, right. But some people would actually put it on like a chain, like a gold chain or something like that. And so everybody had to have one. You can't walk through the door of the metal detectors without that shit. Anyways, my point is that these dudes surrounded him, grabbed his chain from behind his neck, yanked on it, and started going like this, slit his throat all the way around with his own chain. And then when the story came out, because like, let me just tell you, like the principal and the dean and everything, they were in on some gangster ass shit too, like with the gangs and everything. Like,
why does it seem like you went to the school that's in that movie, The Substitute?
Oh, that's a good movie. That's a good movie. I like
that's that movie. A great
movie. But it's just like, I'm not saying like they were like that, but they were to an extent. Like you've seen it, everybody's seen it. Everybody.
Monster, not to interrupt you, Monster, you're absolutely right. Like Jerad and I talked. Well, we talked about what? We talked like 3 hours that one day because you guys might not know this. I did law enforcement, and Jerad was on the other side of that fence.
Yes, I was. But that's kind of the beauty, right? That's kind of the beauty of freedom, and like when you are doing the right thing, we can all.
That's why I don't like council culture. I like the path to redemption.
Right. Me too.
A lot
Me
better.
too.
I'd much rather see somebody be on a path to redeem themselves.
Yes.
Than stay a completely.
Me too. Me too.
But,
and
so you got 10. I'm sorry. We got 10 minutes.
Most people want that too. Most people want that too. But another dude I seen, this was kind of stupid, but they got into this fight, and those, like those, I don't know if it'd be double pane glass, but the really fucking thick glass, like the glass that you can't break. This dude is big, like a big dude, and he got into the fight with this other dude, 2 gang members, whatever. They start fighting, and the big dude gets thrown into the glass, goes right through it, shatters it, and fucks him all up. Well, then, and it's just kind of stupid, I think, because the dude who threw him through the window didn't have to pay for it. He had to pay for it because he went through it. And I always thought that was kind of funny. Like, how fucked up is that you get thrown through it and then you're the one who has to pay for it? But me and my cousin got into a fight in the same cafeteria. And so I don't know how it got started, but not like a food fight, but like food was thrown from like one cafeteria desk to another, and everybody had like the people they hung out with, whatever. And we got into this fight with these Hispanic dudes, and it started sparking off. We started fighting. Dude spoke English just fine. All right. So we get caught up, and police are always going to get called. Like, you get arrested and everything. They show up. This motherfucker don't speak English no more. So I'm sitting there like, I don't speak English either. And I just folded up my arms. Like, if he don't speak English, I don't speak English either. So neither one of us said anything. And then they wound up having to let us go. We got lucky because they did have cameras and everything. So I'm sure we could have really gotten in trouble, but I don't know. We wound up getting away with it, which was remarkable because usually you wound up getting arrested.
I got called. I was the acting watch commander one night at the security department in Sasebo, Japan, and I was the assistant watch commander. I was a watch, and yes, there will be an after. If Jerad, if you want me to log or bring you back in for the after we end it. At any rate, so we were. This guy told me, he's like, hey, go out because Hudson's got a temper, and this guy that they've got stopped is an asshole. He's being a prick, and so they were just like right outside the building. So I walk out. They're at the gate. And this guy's giving him a hard time because his girlfriend was trying to get him on base, but it was a Japanese car. This guy was he was like the kid of a expat. So he didn't have an American plates. Because in Japan, if you're an American, you get plates that designate. He didn't have stickers to get on base. You had to have the stickers. And his girlfriend was trying to escort him on base in his vehicle. And we were trying to tell him, look, pass and decals closed for the night. You can't bring this unregistered vehicle on base without a pass. And Hudson's getting heated. And Hudson was a big, big dude. And as I walk out of the parking lot and I come across and I start to cross the street for the inbound lanes or for the outbound lanes, and then because it's left-hand side drive in Japan, so you're on the left-hand side. So I pass the outbound lanes and I see the guard check and I see Hudson is talking to this guy and I see this guy spit in Hudson's face. And I see Hudson's eyes get really big. And this, like, I'm 6'3", and I'm like, this is a big dude. Like Hudson is way bigger than me. Like I'm 6'3". At the time I was like probably 190, 200. I was in really good shape. And this dude is a monster. Right. And I see Hudson do one of these numbers. I'm like, uh-oh. The guy that he was on post with is like, oh no, I'm trying to cut. I'm like, Hudson, don't do it. Hudson. He gets this dude. He pulls this guy out of the car without taking off his seatbelt. Yeah. Picks him up above his head and throws him on the pavement. And this dude is out. Like, it's like you hear, and I'm like, oh no.
And knocked him off in the concrete.
I am going to have to write this report. Just slams him on the ground.
Concrete?
Oh, he threw him right on the concrete. Like, picked him up.
Did he get knocked out?
Oh, he was out. He was out cold. Yeah. Had to call. And he wasn't base affiliated. He wasn't base affiliated. So he's like, guys, I'm sitting way forward. And I'm sitting on like a couch that has no springs. That's why I'm sitting on a pillow. But yeah, I'm 6'3". So, but yeah, that I was like, oh my God, I thought he killed him. Like, I honestly thought he killed him at first.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Yeah,
I'll tell
I
you
think
what,
people hit the ground pretty damn hard where it scared me for them because
I saw a kid. I saw a kid pull some WWE crap and pile drive a kid on hard dirt, and I'm like, oh, he's dead.
I got into a fight. This is really quick because I know we don't have much time. I got into a fight in school, and we were just scrapping, just throwing blows, and I knocked him back into a bush. I clipped him in the jaw. He fell back into the bush, and so I start lighting him up, and he went down like this, and so to me it was just like clear shot, football kick, bam! I kicked him right in the fucking. I like, right when I did it though, it went through my head like stupid. Like, don't, because you can fucking kill somebody.
But you know what? That's the things I think about, like the fights that I was in when I was growing up. Like I got in fights, and now that I'm older, and like I said, I've taken martial arts. I don't have to fight.
Yeah, but I think back at some of the shit that I did, and it's like fucking crazy. Like,
right? And I'm like, I could like all those things that I could be in prison for just doing something stupid.
Yeah, so absolutely.
I'll tell you what we're going to do, guys. Like I said, like the videos on the way out. I have the affiliate links and stuff before I have to do this. And everybody, if you like this, please leave a like. It does help the channel. I appreciate everybody that does everybody that's been dropping cash to the thing. Like, it's not a requirement.
Thank you guys for the donations. You guys are awesome. Yeah, I'm not gaining, but thank you for him.
Yeah, because like I said, the thing is, like this, I'm doing this now. Like this is basically full time. So I'm going to try and provide you guys with the best content. That's why, like the last month, we made a lot of money on the channel and putting it back into the channel. We have the editing suite. I'm putting this on Apple Podcasts. If you want to listen to it again, like while you're at work, if there's something you missed or you came in late, I should have this up before the weekend's over on Apple Podcasts. It's Beer and Blades Podcast. You can just type in Beer and Blades. I already have the episode Russell up, and I was trying to render the audio in the background, but it was using up so much bandwidth we couldn't do it. Affiliate links and everything are down below. And if you guys want to get some shirt and merch, the merch store is open. Jerad has some of the shirts and they're great.
Yeah, they are really good quality.
But I have actually the one
right over. We're just jumping right back on your thing, right? So
yeah, we're going to jump right back on here. Yeah.
So
I'm going to end this just because I just have to stick around. I just have to end this because the Twitch requirements. So I'm going to start it right back up, and it's going to be Beer and Blades after show. That's what I'm going to call it. Okay. Let's do it. All right. I'm going to end the broadcast.
Guys, see you guys in 2 minutes.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah.